yeah, those are kind of the stuff I'm into, but I kind of am a little bit just a little bit fixated on Danganronpa right now. So that's kind of my biggest thing. I love all the characters. My goal is to cosplay every single character from the series.
Wow.
I've
Wow.
got I'm pretty good so far. If you can kind of see behind me, those are all of my Danganronpa cosplays on that rack there.
That's
Uh,
incredible.
yeah, and most of my wigs and everything are all.
I can see the reflection of some of your wigs.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
got some of the crazy whatever wigs. I really try to make my wigs crazy as much as I can. So, but
Nice.
that's kind of my big fixation right now is Danganronpa and everything.
So what draws you to that series? Because I look at your social media, like I'm not that familiar with the series. I think her name is Junko.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's incredible. Like I've seen so many clips on YouTube. My friends stand the series so heavy.
Hmm.
And I like the character design. I do like some of them, but you really bring Junko to life. Like I know she's like fucking crazy, and you just you have that like insanity thing, but you also put so much effort and thought into your cosplay. What about her draws you to that character?
Um, I honestly like when I first got into Danganronpa, like what 2 years ago maybe. Um, I remember being told by some past friends that they were like, "You should get into Danganronpa. You would look really good as Junko." And I'm like, "Junko, isn't that the girl with the big hair?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, she's kind of cool." And from there, I bought the cosplay because I was like, "All right, I'm gonna try this because it looks fun." And I was pretty excited and everything. I'm like, "She's cool." And then when I was watching the series, she just seemed like a really cool character. I was about to almost spoil, but I'm not going to spoil because you said you haven't watched. And also for anybody else that's watching,
Thank you.
um, yes, spoilers are a big thing to worry about in the Danganronpa community. So yeah, she's just a really crazy character. Really, like she's so problematic in so many ways, but she's a villain that you hate her but you love her. It's like this love hate relationship. I feel the same way about her, the same way I feel about Dio. So they're kind of similar in some way.
Nice.
So yeah, I think it's just she looked really cool, and I hadn't done many girl characters in a while. I'm like, this is a cool girl character to try. And then I'm like, all right, well, I can't go with this simple little clip on pigtailed wig. I got to make this a little bit better. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to style wigs at that time. And I'm like trying to find somebody. I was like, I found somebody to style my wig, and it made it into that big monstrosity that you've probably seen now. Um, she did an incredible job. She was really fast. And it still held up pretty well after like a year or so. So it just needs to be like respec, but I don't want to touch it because it's not my work. I don't want to mess it up. But it's probably like one of my favorite wigs. She's just a really cool character, and she has a lot of different personalities and everything like that. She's very just crazy, and I like being chaotic, which is why I like a lot of the other characters that I do. But I also like depending on like the characters I like to act as like the more crazy characters, but the characters that are like my favorite are usually um either the ones that are really like cheerful and like happy and whatever and like kind of like annoying or like the really like kind of shy type characters. Those are the kind of characters that I really like, but Junko is definitely one of my favorite characters to do, but because I've done so many of them, I've kind of now established this is the characters that I like and this is the characters I don't like because doing literally almost I want to say a good majority of the cast of like the different throughout the different games. I've picked which characters I like doing more than others. And also, like, my opinions have changed on a lot of the characters through cosplaying them and stuff like that, and also through the fandom and things like that. So that's kind of like the good element of that is that like I've learned to like characters I wouldn't have really thought that I like. So um I think the thing that kind of just draws me to that series is just It's just interesting. It's a really cool game. Um, it's very long. Pulls at your heartstrings a lot. And it's also just like the characters are really cool. They all have really interesting and deep backstories. And I just think it's just a really good game. And um there's just so many different types of characters and so many different just anything. Like you can really like I don't know, you really have kind of every single type of character because there's so many. Um there are like some of the issues with some of the stuff with the characters and things like that, but most of that is pretty easily resolved or being resolved or whatever. So that's mostly that. There is some questionable stuff, but most of it is pretty good, I would say.
Nice. I'll check it out. I'll get very invested into the series, I feel.
Oh yeah, it's really good. You'll love the story and the games and everything like that. It's really, really good.
Cool.